Chat! What's up, chat? And, fuck, I already messed up the intro. Hi there, chat, and hello, everyone who's going to be watching the VOD. We are going to be reading the FNAF Into the Pit Fazbear Frights book, but today we're going to be doing something different. We're not going to be reading Into the Pit. We're going to be reading the second story in this little story trilogy of the first book of, I think it's 6 now. We're going to be reading To Be Beautiful. Now, this book is specifically known for its goriness and its kind of more disturbing themes. So for those who are squeamish and for those who are a bit not comfortable with those sorts of themes, please leave now. I'm more than fine with you not watching my stuff. You guys aren't watching my VODs anyway, and I am super disappointed. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys with the bottom of my heart. And a little special announcement. I know you, especially Frame, are going to like this. If you look at the description of this video and this VOD right now, there is going to be a link to join my Discord server. Yes, I have a Discord server now. It's a thing. It's real. No cap. It is awesome. I just got started setting everything up. It's going to obviously be relatively small because of the community that I'm expecting to make at this point. So if you want to check it out, please click the link in the description to join my Discord server, and after the stream, I'd be more than happy to give you a virtual hug and kiss on the lips. No homo, though. My socks are on. But yeah, how are you guys doing, chat? How you guys doing today? Frame, you're pogging. You're pogging, I see. Yeah, I know. I know, Frame, I know. It's awesome. I know. I mean, especially, well, I guess if you want someone to thank for this, thank Frame. They have been harassing me constantly to do it out of the kindness of my heart, so I kindly did it. So special thanks to Frame, I guess, for making me want to make a Discord this early on in the YouTube sense. So yeah, I see we have 4 people in chat, or at least that's what I'm seeing right now. It's either 4 or 3. Anyways, that's really nice to hear. Thank you guys so much. Nice to see you're doing fine, Dolly. I know it's really late for you, so thank you for taking the time out of your night, I believe, to join me. I know this is later than I normally stream, but I just was busy for the first few hours, and because of just scheduling problems, I'm going to try and finish this book in one sitting. So I'm probably not going to read chat as much as I do normally. If there's a long pause, I'm going to, of course, pause and then read chat, but regardless of that, I think it's time we get started. So yeah, so get ready to pog. I know you want to read more. We're going to get there. I'm going to get there. So yeah, I think it's about frickin' time we get into To Be Beautiful. We have to switch to our lovely little reading area. Look at that. That is lovely. That is beautiful. Oh, it is so calming by the fire. I'm going to listen real quick to the playback. Terribly sorry. Awesome. Okay, we're good. It's a little crisper than I thought it'd be, but whatever. It's a lot crisper than my normal mic. Making money to get the PC. Great to hear, Frame. That is amazing. I'm so happy for you. That's great to hear. And of course, I did promise you, Frame, that we are going to, we're going to watch your first video whenever you finish it, and whenever you're proud to upload it, we'll watch it here, like I do with my special group of friends when my new videos come out. It's always happy to be. It's a great thing, and it's always a great inspiration to keep making videos, to watch it with friends. It's surprisingly nice. But without further ado, let us get started with Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit's second story, To Be Beautiful. Flat and fat. Those were the 2 words that Sarah thought of when she looked in the mirror, which she did a lot. How could somebody with such a curved belly be as flat as an ironing board everywhere else? Other girls could describe their shapes as being like an hourglass or a pear. Sarah was shaped like a potato. Looking at her bulbous nose, her prominent ears, and how all her parts seemed stuck onto her body at random, she was reminded of the Mrs. Mix-and-Match doll she had as a kid. The one with different eyes, ears, noses, mouths, and other body parts you could stick onto her to make her look as hilarious as you wanted. And so that was the nickname she came up with for herself. Mrs. Mix and Match. But at least Mrs. Mix and Match had Mr. Mix and Match. Unlike the girls at school whom she called the Beautifuls, Sarah didn't have a boyfriend or any prospect of one. Sure, there was one boy she looked at, dreamed of, but she knew he wasn't looking at or dreaming out the... Fuck. But there was... Jesus. Okay, we're gonna try that again. Sure, there was one boy she looked at, dreamed of, but she knew she wasn't looking at or dreaming of him or her. Fuck me. He wasn't dreaming of her. She thinks she doesn't have a chance with the guy. That's what I meant to say. Good night. She gets that she, like Mrs. Mix and Match in her single days, would just have to wait around until some equally unfortunate looking guy came along. But in the meantime, she needed to finish getting ready for school. Still looking at her worst enemy, the mirror, she applied some mascara and pink-tinted lip balm. For her birthday, her mom had finally given her... Oh, I forgot to say, because I heard my dog. My dog is with me right now, and my parents are away. They're going to be back home soon, so for those who are wondering, if you hear a loud barking sound, that's because that's the sound of my dog literally pissing herself, because my parents are home. So terribly sorry for that out of the blue jump scare. But again, I guess this is FNAF, so I guess it comes with the theme. Her mom had finally given her permission to wear a little light makeup. She gave her dull, mousy brown hair a thorough brushing. She sighed. It was as good as it was going to get, and it wasn't good. The walls of Sarah's rooms were decorated with photos of models and pop stars she had cut out of magazines. Their eyes were smoky, their lips full, their legs long. They were slender, curvy, and confident, young but womanly, and their perfect bodies were wearing clothes Sarah couldn't even dream of affording. Sometimes when she was getting ready in the morning, she felt as if the goddesses of beauty were looking at her with disappointment. Oh, they seemed to say, "Is that what you're wearing?" Or, "No hope of a modeling career for you, sweetheart." Still, she liked having the goddesses there. If she couldn't see beauty where she looked in the mirror, at least she could see it when she looked at the walls. In the kitchen, her mom was dressed for work in a long floral pink dress, her salt and pepper hair long and loose around her back. Or down her back. Her mom never wore makeup or did anything special with her hair, and she had a tendency to put on weight around her hips. Still, Sarah had to admit that her mom had a natural prettiness she herself lacked. Maybe it skips a generation, Sarah thought. "Hey, Cupcake," Mom said. "I picked up some bagels. I got that kind you like with all the seeds. You want me to pop one in the toaster for you?" "No, I'll just have a yogurt," Sarah said, though her mouth watered at the thought of a toasty everything bagel slathered in cream cheese. "I don't need all those carbs." Mom rolled her eyes. "Sarah, those little yogurt cups you live on have just the 90 calories in them. It's a wonder that you don't pass out from hunger in school." She took a big bite of the bagel she had fixed for herself. She had put the top and bottom together sandwich style and cream cheese squished out when she chomped it. "Besides," her mom said, her mouth full, "you're much too young to be worried about carbs." "And you're much too old not to be worried about them," Sarah wanted to say, but she stopped herself. Instead, she said, "A yogurt and a bottle of water will be plenty to hold me over until lunchtime." "Suit yourself," her mom said, "but I'm telling you, this bagel is delicious." If becoming popular is something I am thinking of, making not a reader channel for the fun or stuff that, I mean, people, what's that? Wait, if I become popular or something, I'm thinking of making not a reader channel for the fun and stuff of, oh yeah. Yeah, no, apparently these reading streams are doing way better than I thought. Like, to be honest, I thought I would just have no viewers at all. So yeah, again, it's just a do what you love thing, and eventually people will find you, even if it takes a bit. Nice job with the 80 sit-ups. That's great to see. Well, yeah, well, doing 80 sit-ups would make your gut hurt, so does not surprise me. Unlike most mornings, Sarah actually made it to the school bus in time, so she didn't have to walk. She sat by herself and watched YouTube makeup tutorials on her phone. Maybe on her next birthday, Mom would let her wear more than mascara and BB cream and tinted lip balm. She could get what she needed to do some real contouring, to make her cheekbones look more pronounced and her nose less bulbous. Getting her brows done professionally would... Oh, I skipped a page. Yeah. Oh, I hate this. Getting her brows done professionally would also really help. Right now, she and her tweezers were fighting a daily battle against a unibrow. Before first period, as she got her science book out of the locker, she saw them. They strutted down the hall like supermodels doing a runway show, and everybody stopped what they were doing to watch them. Lydia, Jillian, Tabitha, and Emma. They were cheerleaders. They were royalty. They were stars. They were who every girl in the school wanted to be and who every boy in the school wanted to be with. They were the Beautifuls. Each girl had her own particular brand of beauty. Lydia had blonde hair and blue eyes and a rosy complexion, while Jillian had fiery red hair and cat-like green eyes. Tabitha was dark with chocolate brown eyes and lustrous black hair, and Emma had a chestnut hair and enormous doe-like brown eyes. All the girls had long hair, the better to flip luxuriously over their shoulders, and were slender but with enough curves to fill out their clothes in the bust and the hips. And their clothes! Their clothes were as beautiful as they were, all bought at high-end stores in big cities they visited on their vacations. Today they were all wearing black and white, a short black dress with a white collar and cuffs for Lydia, a white shirt with a black and white polka dot miniskirt for Jillian, a black and white striped— "What are they, penguins?" A voice cut off Sarah's admiring thoughts. Huh? Sarah turned to see Abby, her best friend since kindergarten, standing beside her. She was wearing some kind of hideous poncho and a long, loose floral print skirt. Eh. She looked like she could be running a fortune-telling booth at the school carnival. I said they looked like penguins, Abby said. Let's hope there aren't any hungry seals around. She made a loud barking sound and then laughed. You're crazy, Sarah said. I think they look perfect. You always do, Abby said. She was hugging her social studies book against her chest. And I have a theory about why. You have a theory about everything, Sarah said. And it was true. Abby wanted to be a scientist, and all those theories would probably come in handy one day when she was working on her PhD. You know how we used to play Barbies when we were little? Abby asked. When they were little, Sarah and Abby each had pink carrying cases filled with Barbies and their various clothes and accessories. They had taken turns carrying their cases to each other's house and had played for hours, stopping only for juice box and graham cracker breaks. Life had been so easy back then. Yeah, Sarah said, and it was funny. Abby hadn't changed much since those days. She still wore her hair in the same braids, still wore gold wire framed glasses. The braces on her teeth and a few inches of height were the only differences. Still, when Sarah looked at Abby, she could at least see that the opportunity for beauty was there. Abby had a flawless coffee with cream complexion and startling hazel eyes behind those glasses of hers. She took dance classes after school and had a graceful, slender body, even if she hid it under hideous ponchos and other baggy clothes. Sarah had no beauty, and it tormented her. Abby had beauty, but didn't care about it enough to notice. Water break. FNAF seems fun, and it seems good for PTSD. Might buy it one day. Hey, I'm not stopping you. It's a cool franchise. I'm definitely very invested in it. It's like the second most invested franchise, video game wise, I'm into. My theory, Abby said, getting animated the way she did when she was lecturing, is that you used to love to play with Barbies, but now you're too old for them. You need a Barbie substitute. Those empty-headed fashionistas are your Barbie substitute. That's why you want to play with them. Play? Sometimes it was like Abby was still a little kid. I don't want to play with them, Sarah said, though she wasn't sure this was exactly true. I'm too old to want to play with anybody. I just admire them, that's all. Abby rolled her eyes. What is there to admire? The fact that they can match their eyeshadows to their outfits? If you'll excuse me, I think I'll go on admiring Marie Curie and Rosa Parks. Sarah smiled. Abby had always been such a nerd. A lovable nerd, but still a nerd. Well, you've never had much interest in fashion. I remember how you used to treat your Barbies. Abby grinned back. Well, there was the one I shaved bald, and then there was the one with the hair I colored green with a magic marker so she looked like some kind of crazy supervillain. She wiggled her eyebrows. Now if those teen queens wouldn't let me play with them that way, I might be interested. Sarah laughed. You're the one who's a supervillain. Nope, Abby said. Just a smart aleck. Which is why I'm way more fun than those cheerleaders. Abby gave a little wave and then hurried off to class. At lunch, Sarah sat across from Abby, and it was Friday, which was pizza day, and on Abby's tray was one of the school's rectangular pizza slices, a cup of fruit cocktail, and a carton of milk. School's pizza wasn't the best, but it was still pizza, so it was pretty good. Too many carbs, though. Sarah had hit the salad bar instead, and had... Fuck me. Sarah had hit the salad bar instead and had gotten a green salad with low-fat vinaigrette dressing. She liked ranch a lot better than vinaigrette, but ranch added too many calories. The other kids at the table were the nerds who hurried through the lunch so that they could play card games until the bell rang. Sarah knew the beautifuls called it the loser table. Sarah stabbed at her lettuce with her full plastic fork. What could you do? She asked Abby. If you had a what would you do? She asked Abby if you had $1 million. If you guys came for someone who would read the FNAF books and not make a single mistake and do it all in one run, you guys came to the wrong stream. The wrong stream. Abby grinned. Oh, that's easy. First I'd wait, Sarah said, because she knew the kind of thing Abby was going to say. You're not allowed to say you'd give it to the Humane Society or the homeless or whatever. The money's used to spend on yourself. Abby smiled. And since it's imaginary money, I don't have to feel guilty. That's right, Sarah said, crunching on a baby carrot. Okay. Abby took a bite of pizza and chewed thoughtfully. Well, in that case, I'd use it to travel. Paris first, I think, with my mom and dad and brother. We'd stay in a fancy hotel and go to the Eiffel Tower and then the Louvre and eat at the best restaurants and stuff ourselves with pastries and drink coffee at fancy cafes and people watch. What would you do? Sarah pushed her salad around on her plate. Well, I'd definitely get my teeth professionally whitened, and I'd go to one of those high-end salons to get my hair cut and colored, blonde, but a realistic-looking blonde. I'd get skin treatments and a makeover with really good makeup, not the cheap drugstore kind, and I'd get a nose job. There are other cosmetic procedures I'd like to have, but I don't think they'll do them on a kid. And they shouldn't, Abby said. She looked shocked, like Sarah had said something really bad. Seriously, you put yourself through all that pain and suffering just to change the way you look? I had my tonsils taken out, and that was horrible. I'll never have another operation if I can help it. She looked at Sarah intensely. What's wrong with your nose anyway? Sarah put her hand to her nose. Isn't it obvious? It's huge. Abby laughed. No, it's not. It's just a regular nose. A nice nose. And when you think about it, does anybody really have a beautiful nose? Noses are kind of weird. I actually like animal noses way better than people noses. My dog has a really cute nose. Sarah shot a glance over to the beautifuls table. All of them had perfect tiny noses, adorable little buttons, not a potato nose in the hunch. Abby looked over the table where Sarah was looking. Oh, the penguins again? Okay, so the thing about penguins is that they may be cute, but they all look alike. You're a person and you should look like an individual. Yeah, an ugly individual, Sarah said, pushing away her salad plate. No, a nice-looking individual who worries too much about her appearance. Abby reached out and touched Sarah's forearm. You've changed a lot the past couple years, Sarah. We used to talk about books and movies and music. Now all you want to do is talk about how you don't like the way you look, and about all the clothes and hairstyles and makeup you wish you could afford. And instead of having pictures on your wall of cute baby animals like you used to, you've got pictures of all those skinny models. I like the baby animals a lot better. Sarah felt anger rising like bile in her throat. How dare Abby judge her? Friends were supposed to be the people who didn't judge you. She stood up. You're right, Abby, she said, loud enough that the other people at the table turned to look at her. I have changed. I've grown up and you haven't. I think about adult things and you still buy stickers and watch cartoons and draw horses. Sarah was so angry that she marched off and left her tray on the table for somebody else to clean up. By the time school was over, Sarah had a plan. She wasn't going to sit at the loser table anymore because she wasn't going to be a loser. She was going to be as popular and as pretty as she possibly could be. It was amazing how quickly her plan fell into place. As soon as she was home, she dug in her dresser drawer where she kept her money. She had $20 of birthday money from her grandma and $10 left from her allowance. It was enough. The beauty supply store was just about a 15-minute walk from her house. She could get there and back and do what she needed to do before her mom got home at 6. The store was brightly lit with row after row of beauty products, brushes and curling irons, hair dryers, nail polish, and makeup. She headed for the aisle labeled hair color. She didn't have to have $1 million to become a blonde. She could do it for around $10 and just look like $1 million. She selected a box marked Pure Platinum, decorated with a picture of a smiling model with long, luminous white gold hair. Beautiful. The woman at the checkout counter had obviously dyed bright hair. The checkout customer had obviously dyed bright red hair and false eyelashes that made her resemble a giraffe. Now, if you want your hair to look like the picture, you'll have to bleach it first, she said. Bleach it? How? Sarah asked. Her mom used bleached in water to clean the floor sometimes. Surely this wasn't the same thing. You'll want to get the peroxide that's back on the aisle too, the cashier said. When Sarah returned with the plastic bottle, the woman looked at her with narrowed eyes. Does your mama know you're about to color your hair, hun? Oh, sure, Sarah said, not making eye contact. She doesn't mind. She didn't know if her mom would mind or not. She guessed she would find out. Well, that's good then, she said, ringing up Sarah's purchases. Maybe she can help you. Make sure you get the color on good and even. At home, Sarah locked herself in the bathroom and read the directions from the box of hair color. They seemed simple enough. She put on the plastic gloves that came with the hair dye kit, draped a towel around her shoulders, and worked the peroxide into her hair. So she wasn't sure how long to leave the peroxide on, so she sat on the edge of the bathtub and played a few games on her phone and watched some YouTube makeup tutorials. First, her scalp started to itch, and then it started to burn. It burned as if someone had thrown a handful of lit matches into her hair. She quickly typed into her phone, how long to leave peroxide in hair. The answer that appeared was no longer than 30 minutes. How long had she left it in? She jumped to her feet, grabbed the detachable shower head, turned the water on cold, leaned her head over the tub, and started spraying. The frigid water soothed her fiery scalp. I'm terribly sorry, chat. I'm not good at reading, but I'm still doing it. When she looked in the bathroom mirror, her hair was stark white, like she had become an old woman way before her time. The bathroom stank of bleach, making her nose run and her eyes water. She cracked the window and opened the bottle of hair color. It was time to complete her transformation. She shook up the hair color ingredients in a squeeze bottle and squirted the mixture all over her hair and massaged it in. She set the alarm on her phone to go off in 25 minutes and settled in to wait. By the time her mom got home, Sarah was going to look like a whole new person. She played happily on her phone until the alarm buzzed, then rinsed it off again with the detachable shower head. She didn't bother with the conditioner that came with the hair color kit because she was too anxious to see the results. She toweled off her hair and stepped into the mirror to see the new her. She screamed. She screamed so loud that the neighbor's dog started barking. Her hair was not platinum blonde, but sewage green. She thought of Abby when they were little, coloring her Barbie's hair with a green magic marker. Now she was that Barbie. How could she do something to make herself pretty and end up even uglier than before? Why was life so unfair? She ran to her room, flung herself onto her bed, and cried. She must have cried herself into a miserable sleep, because the next thing she knew, her mom was sitting on the edge of the bed saying, "What happened here?" Sarah looked up. She could see the shock in her mom's eyes. I was trying to color my hair," Sarah sobbed. "I want it to be blonde, but I'm... You're green. I can see that," Mom said. "Well, I could say there would be consequences from you coloring your hair without my permission, but I think you're already experiencing some of those. You're going to clean up the bathroom, though. But for right now, we need to see what we can do to make you look less like a Martian." She touched Sarah's hair. "Oof, it feels like straw. Listen, put on your shoes. The hair salon at the mall should still be open. Maybe we can fix this." Sarah put on her shoes and stuffed her moss-colored tresses under a baseball cap. When they got to the salon and Sarah yanked off the cap, the stylist gasped. Well, it's a good thing you called 911. This is definitely a hair emergency. An hour and a half later, Sarah was back to having brown hair, now a few inches shorter because the stylist had to cut off the damaged ends. Well, Mom said, once they were in the car and on the way home, that was a big chunk of my paycheck. I probably should have just let you go to school with green hair. Would have served you right. Ooh, we're already 30 minutes in and I am, how we say, not doing good. We are not doing the best. I swear, these books, I'm going to spend another hour and a half reading it, and then we're going to be somewhat there, and it's going to be, screw me. Just screw me. Ugh. Well, thank you very much, chat, for sticking with me for the 30 minutes. I'm going to adjust my mic real quick, so stand by and cover your ears. Because I'm kind of leaning back now. Kind of getting chill with it. The campfire definitely helps. Ooh, okay. Sarah returned to school not in a blaze of platinum blonde glory, but her usual mousy brown self. Still, when lunchtime rolled around, she resolved that, even without blonde hair, she wasn't going to sit at the loser table. She served herself from the salad bar, then walked right past where Abby was sitting. She didn't need Abby to criticize her today. A knot formed in her stomach as she approached the Beautifuls' table. They must have decided today was jeans day because they were all wearing cute skinny jeans with fitted jewel-colored tops and matching slip-on canvas shoes. Sarah sat down at the opposite end of the table, far enough away that she didn't seem to be intruding, but close enough that they would include her if they wanted. She waited a few minutes, expecting one of them to tell her to go away, but nobody did. She was relieved and hopeful, but then she realized that none of them have even seemed to see her. They just kept right on with their conversation like she was invisible. She did not say that. Oh, yes, she did. No. Yes. And then what did she say? Sarah pushed her salad around on her plate and tried to follow the conversation, but she had no idea who they were talking about, and she certainly wasn't going to ask them. Probably they wouldn't even hear her if she said something. They couldn't see her. They probably couldn't hear her either. She felt like a ghost. She picked up her tray and headed towards the trash can, desperate to get out of the cafeteria, desperate to get out of the whole school, really. But there was still 7th and 8th periods to suffer through. Boring social studies and stupid math, lost in her suffering, she bumped right into a tall boy, dumping the remains of her salad onto the crisp right shirt of his. White shirt, not the right shirt. She looked up into the ocean blue eyes of Mason Blair, the most perfect guy in school. The guy she always hoped might notice her. Hey, watch where you're going, he said, picking a cucumber slice off his expensive designer shirt. The vinaigrette-covered vegetable had left the perfectly oily circle in the middle of his chest. Sorry, she squeaked, then threw the rest of her salad, what Mason wasn't wearing, into the trash and half ran out of the cafeteria. What a nightmare! She had wanted Mason to notice her, but not this way. Not as the ugly, clumsy girl with fried, frizzy brown hair who gave a new meaning to the words tossed salad. Why did everything have to go wrong for her? The Beautifuls never did anything stupid or clumsy, never humiliated themselves in front of a cute boy. Their beauty was like a suit of armor that protected them from life's pain and embarrassment. When the school day finally dragged to an end, Sarah decided to walk home instead of taking the bus. Given how her day had been, she didn't feel like she should take the risk of being with a big group of kids again. It would just be inviting disaster. She walked alone, telling herself she might as well get used to solitude. She was always going to be alone. She passed the brown cow, the ice cream stand where the Beautifuls went with their boyfriends after school, laughing as they sat together at picnic tables, sharing milkshakes or sundaes. And of course, the Beautifuls could scarf all the ice cream they wanted and not gain an ounce. Life was so unfair. To get to her house, Sarah had to walk past the wrecking yard. It was an ugly expanse of dirt filled with the destroyed corpses of cars. There were smashed-in pickup trucks, squashed SUVs, and vehicles that had been reduced to nothing more than rusted heaps of junk. She was sure that none of the beautifuls had to pass a place so hideous on their way home. Even though the junkyard was horrible, or maybe because it was so horrible, she couldn't help looking at it when she passed by. She was like a passing driver gawking at an accident at the side of the road. The car nearest to the fence definitely fit into the heap of junk category. It was one of those big old sedans that only very elderly people still drove. The kind of car Sarah's mom called a land yacht. This yacht had seen better days. It had once been light blue, but now it was mostly very orange-brown. In some places, the rust had eaten all the way through the metal, and the car's body was so shattered that it looked like it had been attacked by a mob wielding baseball bats. Then she saw the arm. A thin, delicate arm was sticking out of the trunk of the car. Its little white hand with fingers outstretched as if it was saying hello, or waving for help, like someone who was drowning. Sarah burned with curiosity. What was the hand attached to? The gate was unlocked. Nobody seemed to be watching. After looking toward to make sure no one was nearby, she stepped inside the wrecking yard. She approached the old sedan and touched the arm, then the hand. It was metal from the feel of it. She found the handle on the trunk and pulled it, but the lever wouldn't budge. The car was so dented and battered that the trunk wouldn't open and close properly anymore. Sarah thought of the story a teacher had read to her class once in elementary school about King Arthur pulling a sword from a stone when nobody else could. Could she pull this doll, or whatever it was, from this wrecked vehicle? She looked around until she found a strong, flat piece of metal that could maybe work as a substitute crowbar. She braced her foot against the car's crumpled bumper, slid the metal inside the trunk door, and pried upward. The first time she tried, it didn't give at all, but the second time, it flipped open and threw her off balance. She fell backward and landed on her butt in the dirt. She stood up to inspect the owner of the hand she had seen sticking out of the trunk. Was it a discarded doll outgrown by some little girl and tossed in the trash to end up in the dump? The thought made Sarah sad. Sarah pulled the doll from the trunk and stood it up on its feet. Though once she looked at it, she wasn't sure doll was the right word to describe it. It was a few inches taller than Sarah herself, but it was jointed so that its limbs and waist looked movable. Was it some kind of marionette? A robot? Whatever it was beautiful. It had wide green long-lashed eyes, pink Cupid's bow lips, and pink circles around its cheeks. Its face was painted like a clown's, but a pretty clown. Its red hair was pulled up into twin pigtails on the top of its head, and its body was sleek and silver, with a long neck, a tiny waist, and a rounded bust and hips. Its legs and arms were long, slender, and elegant. It looked like a robotic version of the gorgeous supermodels whose pictures hung on the walls of Sarah's room. Now, I'm just going to say this outright, for people who can't really visualize what's going on right now. If anyone knows Circus Baby from FNAF, sister location, she's like the main animatronic. Imagine her if she starved herself to look like a supermodel from Instagram. That's essentially what we're dealing with as the spoiler alert main antagonist of this book. Sorry, chat. I don't know if that came through the mic, but I did a little burpee. Where had it come from, and why would someone want to get rid of such a beautiful, perfect object? Well, if whoever put this thing in the dump didn't want it, then Sarah did. She picked up the girl-shaped robot and found it surprisingly light. She carried it sideways, her arm around its delicate waist. At home in her room, Sarah set the girl robot down on the floor. It was a little tarnished and dusty, as if it had been in the trash heap for a while. Sarah went to the kitchen and got a rag and a bottle of cleaner that was supposed to be safe for metal surfaces. She sprayed and wiped the front of the robot inch by inch from head to toe. The shininess made it look more beautiful. As Sarah got behind the robot to clean the other side, she noticed an on-off switch at the back of its back. At the small of its back. Scott, what does that mean? Scott Cawthon, creator of Five Nights at Freddy's Funny FNAF. What the small of its back? What does that mean? You couldn't tell me what the small of its back is. You couldn't. And I lost my spot because I was angry. After she finished wiping it down, she turned the switch position to on. Nothing happened. Sarah turned away, slightly disappointed. The robot was still cool to have, though, even if it didn't do anything. But then a rattling sound makes Sarah turn back around. The robot was shaking all over like it was either going to rev up or break down entirely. And then it went still. Sarah resigned herself once more to the idea that the robot wasn't going to do anything. Until it did. The robot's waist pivoted, making its upper body move. It slowly raised its arms and then put them down. Its head turned to face Sarah, seeming to look at her with its big green eyes. "Hello, friend," it said in a slightly metallic-sounding version of a young girl's voice. "My name is Eleanor." Sarah knew the thing couldn't be talking to her personally, but it felt like it was. "Hi," she whispered, feeling a little silly for entering into a conversation with an inanimate object. Good night. Oh! Okay, small of the back. Okay. Yeah, I've never heard that before. Thank you very much, Dolly. Appreciate it. "I'm Sarah." "Nice to meet you, Sarah," the girl robot said. Whoa. How had it said her name back to her? It must have some pretty sophisticated built-in computer or something. Sarah thought. Jesus. It was the kind of thing her brother might know about. He was in college majoring in computer science. The robot took a few surprisingly smooth steps towards Sarah. "Thank you for rescuing me and cleaning me up, Sarah," Eleanor the robot said. "I feel good as new." You had to Google it? Yeah, like, I've never heard of the small of the back. I'm sorry this is like a rant, but come on. Who has actually learned of the small of the back? That just sounds so unnecessarily complicated and stupid. Sorry. I mean, that's just how I feel. She gave a pretty feminine twirl, her short skirt billowing. Sarah's mouth was hanging open. Was this thing capable of actual conversation? Of actual thought? You're welcome, she said. "Now," Eleanor said, placing her cold, hard little hand on Sarah's cheek. "You tell me what I can do for you, Sarah." Sarah stared at the robot blankly. Pretty face. "What do you mean?" "You did something nice for me. And now I must do something nice for you." Eleanor cocked her head like an adorable puppy. "What do you want, Sarah? I want to make your wishes come true." Nothing really," Sarah said. It wasn't the truth, but really, how could this robot make her wishes come true? "Everybody wants something," Eleanor said, brushing Sarah's hair away from her face. "What do you want, Sarah?" Sarah took a deep breath. She looked at the images of models and actresses and pop stars on her walls. She might as well say it. Eleanor was a robot. She wouldn't judge her. She whispered, feeling embarrassed. "I want to be beautiful." Eleanor clapped her hands. "To be beautiful. What a wonderful wish. But it is a large wish, Sarah, and I am petite. Give me 24 hours and I will have a plan to start making this wish come true." "Okay, sure," Sarah said, but she didn't believe for 1 minute that this robot had the ability to transform her looks. She couldn't even quite believe that she was having a real conversation with it. Ugh. Scary, scary. So somehow, this robot's gonna make Sarah look beautiful, in a sense, so I wonder how she will do that. We lost a viewer and I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Here's sadness. Wah. Oh. Okay. When Sarah woke up the next morning, Eleanor was standing in the corner as still and lifeless as the other decorative objects in Sarah's room. No more alive than the stuffed Freddy Fazbear she had on her bed since she was 6. Maybe the conversation with Eleanor had been just a particularly vivid dream. That afternoon, when Sarah got home from school, Eleanor pivoted her waist, raised and lowered her arms, and moved smoothly over to Sarah. "I made you something, Sarah," she said. Eleanor put her hands behind her back and produced a necklace. It was a chunky silver chain with a large cartoonish silver heart. 1 second, okay, cool, we're at 46 minutes. Well, Dolly, I appreciate you just being here with me. I guess people aren't used to the new stream schedule, which I understand. Oh well. I'm still gonna read, if you'll have me. Because, I mean, we're not really at the stopping point where I'm content with actually finishing. We've got, so it started at page, we've got good progress down. So page, it seems 70, page 70, and the end of this book is at page 137. So we still have quite a few pages to get through. I'm going to see until we get to a certain stopping point. Story time for bed. Oh, that's happy to hear that. 1 second. So 70. So that's like, wait, so 70 to 130. So that's another 60 or so pages. So once I get to page like 100, then I'm going to wait until we get to a sort of stopping point. And then I'm probably going to call the stream. So that way we can finish it hopefully tomorrow. That's the plan at least. So here's to hoping. Oh, whoa, for a second I was only at 1 viewer. That's sad. Oh well, that's what a small time YouTube does to a guy. I guess. I'm gonna go back. Eleanor put her hands together behind her back and produced a necklace. It was a chunky silver chain with a large cartoonish silver heart pendant dangling from it. It was unusual. Pretty. "You made this for me?" Sarah said. "I did," Eleanor said. "I want you to make me a promise. I want you to put this necklace on and never, ever take it off. Do you promise that you'll keep it on? Always?" "I promise," Sarah said. "Thank you for making it for me. It's beautiful." "And you will be beautiful too," Eleanor said. "Since your wish is so big, Sarah, I can only grant it a little at a time. But if you wear this necklace and keep it on each morning when you wake up, you'll be a more beautiful person than the day before." Eleanor held out the necklace, and Sarah took it. "Okay, thanks," Sarah said, not believing Eleanor for a minute, but she put on the necklace anyway because it was pretty. "It looks good on you," Eleanor said. "Now, for the necklace to work, you have to let me sing you to sleep." "Like, now?" Sarah asked. Eleanor nodded. "It's early, though. Mom isn't even home from work yet. For the necklace to work, you have to let me sing you to sleep," Eleanor repeated. "Well, I guess I could take a little nap," Sarah said. Not entirely sure. Oh. Yeah, I'm stupid, Dolly. I just realized the 1 viewer thing was when the stream started. Of course there was like starting off with 1 viewer. I get stupid sometimes. Let me breathe. I'm sorry, I just stopped in the middle of it. For the necklace to work, you have to let me sing you to sleep, Eleanor repeated. "Well, I guess I could take a little nap," Sarah said, not entirely sure that she wasn't already asleep and dreaming. "Get into bed," Eleanor said, moving in her soon stroll to the side of Sarah's bed. Even though she was a robot, everything about Eleanor was so feminine and lovely. Yeah, that's true. We are all humans, Dolly, after all. Sarah pulled back the covers and got into bed. Eleanor sat on the edge of the bed and stroked Sarah's hair with her cold little hand. She sang, "Go to sleep, Go to sleep, my sweet Sarah. When you wake, all your dreams will come true. I'm gonna listen to this again. Cool, we're good. So I just wanted to make sure that game, but I was wondering if the voice of Eleanor was going to actually be audible, and I'm happy to say that it was. So that's great to hear. Welcome back, whoever just joined, or welcome to whoever just joined for the first time. Before Eleanor sang the last note, Sarah was asleep. Sarah was usually groggy and grumpy in the morning, but this morning she woke up feeling great. Eleanor, she noticed, was standing still in the corner of the room in her inanimate object pose. Somehow, Eleanor being there, not being three, made Sarah feel safe, as if Eleanor were standing guard. Maybe Eleanor was just an inanimate object, Sarah thought as she sat up in bed, but then she reached up and felt the silver heart pendant hanging just below her throat. If the necklace was real, the talk she had with Eleanor must be real too. As she moved her hand away from the necklace, she noticed something else. Her arm. Both her arms, actually. They were slimmer and more toned somehow. And their skin, which was usually sallow, was healthy and glowing. The dry patches of skin she was prone to had disappeared, and both arms were soft and smooth to the touch. Even her usually chapped elbows were as soft as kittens' noses. And her fingers, as she touched her arms with them, they felt different too. She stretched out her hands to inspect them. Her once stubby fingers were long, elegant, and tapered. Her formerly short, nubby nails were now longer than her fingertips and shaped in perfect ovals. Amazingly, they were also a gorgeous, painted, soft pink, each nail like a perfect rose petal. Sarah ran to the mirror to give herself a full inspection. Same mix and match face, nose, and body, but now with a perfect pair of arms and hands. She thought of Eleanor's words from last night. Each morning when you wake up, you'll be a little more beautiful than the day before. Sarah was definitely a little more beautiful. Was this the way it was going to work, that every morning a different part of her would be transformed? She darted to the corner where Eleanor was standing. I love my new arms and hands. Thank you, she said to the unmoving robot. So, am I going to wake up every morning to one new part until I'm totally transformed? Eleanor didn't move. Her face kept the same painted-on expression. Well, maybe I'll just have to wait and see, huh? Sarah said. Thanks again. She stood on tiptoe, kissed the robot on its cold, hard cheek, and then hurried to the kitchen for breakfast.
Oh, the throat is dry, gamers. I require H2O.
It's crazy how fast these streams go. I mean, granted, time zooms by when you're having fun, so I guess that's good. And I think we'll have a, I'll talk for a bit after the, I'll talk for a bit, after I get to the stopping point I'm planning on, and then we can have a nice just chatting stream and have a good time. Okay, where am I? I already lost my spot because I was wanting to inform my chat, so you're welcome. Her mom was sitting at a table with a cup of coffee and half a grapefruit. Wow, I didn't even have to yell at you to get out of bed this morning, Mom said. What's going on? Sarah shrugged. I don't know. I just woke up feeling good. I slept well, I guess. She poured some cornflakes in a bowl and drenched them with milk. Well, you were already passed out when I got home. I thought that waking you for dinner, but you were out like a light, Mom said. She watched as Sarah shoveled in cereal. And you're going to eat real food too. Would you like the other half of this grapefruit? Sure, thanks, Sarah said. As she reached for the grapefruit, her mom grabbed her hand. Hey, when did you let your nails grow out? Sarah knew she couldn't say last night, so she said, over the past couple weeks, I guess. Well, they look fantastic, Mom said, giving her hand a squeeze before she let it go. Healthy, too. Have you been taking those vitamins I bought you? Sarah hadn't been, but said yes anyway. Good, her mom said, smiling. It's definitely paying off. After breakfast, Sarah selected a pink shirt that complemented her nail color and took some extra time with her hair and makeup. At school, she felt a little less invisible. While she was in the restroom washing her hands, Jillian, one of the beautifuls, came in. She checked her perfect face and hair in the mirror, then glanced down at Sarah's hands. "Ooh, I love that polish," she said. Sarah was so shocked she could barely manage to say thanks. Jillian flounced out on the restroom, no doubt to join her popular friends. But she had seen Sarah, she had noticed Sarah, and she had liked at least one thing about her. Sarah smiled to herself for the rest of the day. Now this is interesting. We're getting somewhere. That's going to be very fun. So, yeah. So, for some reason, Sarah's getting all this as soon as whatever Eleanor did to her, she's getting all pretty. She's getting all pretty like. So next day she might have some pretty eyes, a pretty nose, finally get rid of that potato nose. We don't know. So, very interesting how this is going on. How's chat, what do you guys think about this so far while I drink a lovely glass of water? We're getting near the end, so I might as well get some initial reactions, and then we'll talk a bit about what's going on so far after I finish after I get to the stopping point I'd like to get. Well, chat. The silent and strong type. Oh, that's very interesting, chat. Very, very interesting. I mean, yeah, I mean, truly, you can't truly form the opinion until you get to the true stopping point. So I get your point, chat. I truly get your point. Truly get it. Okay, well, if you insist, we'll get to our actual stopping point, and then we'll actually finish this. Oh, I lost a viewer doing that. Okay, never mind. I'll keep reading. Jesus. Eleanor was mostly nocturnal. When the last of the winter daylight started to fade, she pivoted her waist, moved her arms up and down, and sprang to life. "Hello, Sarah," she said in her tiny little voice. Oh, we got one. The story seemed to have a generic message, but things are getting interesting. Indeed they are, Dolly. Indeed they are. I'm very excited to see how this goes out. I truly am. Yeah, it's the generic message of there's multiple forms of beautiful, but it's also saying don't try to force yourself to be beautiful, because that can lead to some nasty, nasty consequences. So, let's get back. "Hello, Sarah," she said in her tinny little voice. "Are you a little more beautiful today than you were yesterday, just like I promised?" "Yes," Sarah said. She couldn't remember being so grateful. "Thank you." Eleanor nodded her head. "Good. And are you a little happier today than you were yesterday?" "I am," said Sarah. Eleanor clapped her little hands. "Good. That's what I want. To grant your wishes and make you happy." How's it going, Gaming Master? We are reading To Be Beautiful, one of the books in the Five Nights at Freddy's Fazbear Frights books. So, if you want to chat and have some good time, the Gaming Master has indeed arrived. Welcome. We're just reading some FNAF, and we're just having a bit of a good time. So, happy to have you. We have truly been blessed. Truly. Sarah still couldn't quite believe this was all happening. "Well, that's really nice of you, but why?" "I told you why. You saved me, Sarah. You pulled me out of the trash heap, cleaned me up, and brought me back to life. And so now I want to grant you wishes just like a fairy godmother. Would you like that?" Her voice, while metallic, also sounded kind. "Yes," Sarah said. Oh, my day was good. My day was good, Gaming Master. How was yours? "Good," Eleanor said. "Then never ever take off that frick." "Yes," Sarah said. "Who wouldn't like a fairy godmother?" "Good," Eleanor said. "Then never ever take off that necklace and let me sing you to sleep. When you wake up, you'll be a little more beautiful than you are today." Sarah hesitated. She knew her mom had thought it was weird when she came home yesterday evening and found Sarah already asleep. If Sarah fell asleep nearly every night early, her mom would worry that she was sick or something. Plus, there was the homework issue. If she stopped doing her homework, that too would arouse suspicion, both at home and at school. I'll let you sing me to sleep, Sarah said, but could it be in a few hours? I need to eat dinner with my mom and then do my homework. If you must, Eleanor said, sounding a little disappointed. But it is necessary that you let me put you to sleep as early as possible. It's important that you get your beauty rest. Happy to have you back, Frame. Was wondering where you were. After a spaghetti dinner and an hour and a half on math and English, Sarah took a quick shower, brushed her teeth, and put on her nightgown. Then she approached Eleanor, who was standing still in her corner. I'm ready, Sarah said. Then get in bed like a good girl, Eleanor said. Sarah climbed under the covers and Eleanor came to the bed with her rolling gait. She sat on the edge of the bed and reached out to touch Sarah's heart-shaped pendant. Remember to keep it on always and never ever take it off, Eleanor said. I'll remember, Sarah said. Eleanor stroked Sarah's hair with her cold little hand and sang her lullaby. Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, my sweet Sarah. When you wake, all your dreams will come true. Hey, nice to hear you're reading the Lord's Word for profit. You know, that's the best way to read the Lord's Word. All my religious people that are listening to this understand that that was a joke. Let that be known. Once again, Sarah fell asleep before she knew what hit her. She woke that morning feeling refreshed, and when she stood up, she seemed to stand a little straighter, a little prouder, a little taller. She ran to the mirror and pulled up her nightgown to expose her legs. Jeez, like, do you want me to get demonetized, book? Do you want me to get demonetized? Because I can't even make money. Don't try and demonetize my stuff. That's mean. They were magnificent. She was no longer stubby Mrs. Mix-and-Match with legless feet stuck onto her dumpty body. Her legs were long and shapely, with toned calves and dainty ankles, a model's legs. When she ran her hands over them, the skin was smooth and sleek. She looked down and noticed that the nails on her perfect, adorable toes were polished the same rosy pink as her fingernails. Toes in my FNAF book. That's what I wanted to read. Yes, indeed. Quite. Sarah usually wore jeans to school, the better to cover her stubby limbs, but today she was going to wear a dress. She ran to her closet and took out a lovely lavender dress her mom had bought her the last spring. She hadn't liked the way it looked on her then, but now it showed off her long, shapely arms and legs. She slipped on some ballet flats and admired her reflection in the mirror. She still didn't look exactly how she wanted to. That potato nose had to go for one thing. But she was definitely making progress. She put on the little bit of makeup that she was allowed to wear, brushed her hair, and went down to breakfast. Her mom was standing at the stove, stirring eggs in a pan. Look at you, you're a knockout, Mom looked at her up and down, smiling. Is it picture day or something? No, Sarah said, sitting down at the table and pouring herself a glass of orange juice. I just felt like making an effort today. Is there somebody special you're making an effort for? Mom asked in a teasing tone. Sarah's mind wandered for a moment to Mason Blair, but then the image turned into her bumping into him and covering him in salad. No, just for me, I guess. Her mom smiled. Wow, that's really nice to hear. Hey, do you want some eggs? Sarah felt a sudden ravenous hunger. Sure, she said. Ugh. Her mom dished up a scrambled eggs and toast for each of them and then sat down. I don't know what it is, Mom said, but for the past couple of days, you've just seemed to be so much more mature and easy to talk to. She sipped her coffee and looked thoughtful. Maybe you've just been going through an awkward stage the last year or so, and you're starting to outgrow it. Sarah smiled. Yes, I think that may be it. The awkward stage was my entire life before I met Eleanor, Sarah thought. At school, Sarah saw Abby in the hall and felt a pang of missing her. The two of them had had so much history together, going back to the days of finger paint and Play-Doh, but Abby was stubborn. If Sarah waited for Abby to apologize to her, it might never happen. She walked up to Abby at her locker. "Hey," Sarah said. "Hey." Abby dug around in her locker and didn't make eye contact with her. "Listen," Sarah said. "I'm sorry I said those mean things to you the other day." Abby finally looked at her. "Hey, they weren't wrong. I do still like cartoons and stickers and horses." "Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Stickers and horses and cartoons are nice, and you're nice, and I'm sorry. Friends," she held her hand out, and Abby laughed and hugged her instead. When Abby pulled away from the hug, she looked Sarah up and down. "Hey, have you gotten taller or something?" There was no way she could explain it. "No, I'm just working on having better posture." "Well, you're definitely succeeding." Okay. We're at page 103, and I think it was 137, so that gives us 30 more pages to work with. I think that is going to be a nice stopping point, so I think that is great. I think that is a great place to end things off for today. I'm planning on streaming tomorrow. I don't know what time because I have work tomorrow, but I am going to plan on working if some things happen. So we're just going to quickly put that book away. And I'm just going to give a quick recap for those who have been dozing off when they're watching the VOD, or if they are reading, or if they're listening right now live, which you should listen to live if you do not. We are going to kind of recap what happened. So the story started off with a girl named Sarah. And Sarah was a girl who just thought she was just ugly with a capital UGLY. She likes to comment about her potato nose, and unfortunately this makes her very sad and self-conscious. There's a boy that she likes, but she thinks she's too ugly and keeps bumping into him in the wrong ways, so she thinks she has no chance with him. And then there's also the case of the Beautifuls, a group of really skinny girls that unfortunately she wants to be, but she feels like she can't because of the unrealistic standards that those ladies frankly put on her. But now she is walked down and luckily / unluckily, depending on how you see it, she came to find a robot by the name of Eleanor, which, for those who want a way to visualize her, imagine Circus Baby crossed with Ballora in terms of like skinniness and frame, but she still looks like Circus Baby. So she finds this robot named Eleanor, and Eleanor promises little old Sarah that she will be beautiful day after day as long as she wears this silver pendant around her neck. Now, what does this mean? We have no clue, but every night Eleanor sings her to sleep, and piece by piece, Sarah becomes more beautiful. And we're now getting to the part where this is going to become a more common thing, and most likely when we get back to reading, we're going to see the product of what Eleanor has been doing to Sarah. And for all we know, this product might not be what Sarah quite expected. So thank you for those who are watching the VOD right now for watching. I really appreciate it. But unfortunately, we are now going to cut to a just chatting segment that unfortunately I'm going to keep for the live viewers because honestly, that's probably not VOD material to keep on the channel since I'm already littering my channel with these VODs already. So if you want to join the next chatting portion of the stream where I just talk to fans and just have a chill time, you can join the stream whenever I come live. And honestly, if that is not too convenient to you, I'm terribly sorry. But again, I just don't want to litter my channel too much with VODs. And at the same time, I don't feel like I'm at a point yet where VODs are going to have to be put on a separate channel. But soon they will. Let's just say they soon will. But yeah, again, thank you so much for watching, VOD viewers. But unfortunately, this is where I put up the gates and stop you. So unfortunately, get out.